It is 8:30. We are here for our central services update with Tom Gaines.
Good morning, Commissioners. Is Rob joining us this morning by chance?
He said he would be a little late, but he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to log on to the first meeting.
All right. On consent, only one thing for central services, item number 27. Technology services, it's the approval of the Carasoft Technology Corp annual Zoom licensing renewal, $22,062.72. This is expected and it's paid for in our software maintenance budget.
Rob is online now.
Oh, okay, good deal. Good morning, Rob. So that's the only thing that we have on consent. And again, that's an expected renewal. Moving on to the fairgrounds, the fencing contractor starts today for that final capital project along with the bleachers. I did get a call on Thursday from Southern Bleacher, and they are showing up today to install the bleachers on that concrete pad that we did. We are also working with Public Works on the area near the track. Jim is really concerned, and we drove out there last week. It's kind of unusable ground, and it's ground that has to be driven over, especially for staging for the demo derby or all those folks coming in. So I talked to John Brissy last week, and he was going to talk to their road supervisors about getting a grader out there and maybe dumping some gravel and spreading that. So I need to follow up with him today. If he doesn't, we probably need to find a way to get somebody out there pretty quick because it's
kind of a mess.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
So as far as central services go, Vanessa is off this week and Kevin is out until July 6th. He's also on vacation. So we're kind of covering everything, or I'm covering everything. Samaritan Hospital, I have not heard anything back from them since the meeting with Rob and I. Moving on to the coroner's office last Tuesday, we held a pre-submittal meeting for general contractors planning to submit for the GCCM for the coroner's office. It was attended by Belsass and Smith Construction out of Ellensburg, Boughton Construction from Spokane, Cascade Central Construction out of Wenatchee, which is a subsidiary of Selland Construction, and Selland has performed a lot of the civil work, if not all the civil work, on the jail. And Cascade is currently remodeling our CS office, the old dentist office. Faber Construction out of Linden, Howard S. Wright out of Seattle, Lighted Construction out of Spokane, Skanska USA from their Seattle office, and Swinnerton, who have offices in both Seattle and Spokane. So it was well attended, and those proposals are due July 10th. I'll be creating a selection committee and selecting the general contractor shortly thereafter. So we're going in the right direction with the coroner's office. For the central services office, we finalized furniture last week with Contract Design Associates, and we're comparing the options of reusing parts of the current HR office and adapting it to work in the new offices versus new furniture. It'll depend on the price. I'm also looking to move the right people into the basement of the courthouse, so we might not want to tear that furniture apart. It works really well in that space. So there's more to come on that as we try and figure that out. The parking lot has been completed and striped. You'll note there's no reserved spaces, but I might install a sign that states courthouse employee parking only to try
for over here.
Yeah. To try and minimize parking of members of the weed board and PUD employees who often grab spaces as close to their building as they possibly can instead of using their own parking lot. Moving on to the gym, but that's going really well. They're drywalling it right now. We have carpet coming in another week and a half, so it's moving along at a pretty good clip. So moving on to the jail, we did hold a bid opening last Wednesday for the roundabout. It was close and lower than expected. So we had two bidders, Selland Construction and Hearst Construction. Both are companies well versed in roundabout construction and are known to Leidig, who has worked extensively with both companies. So there's no weird dark horse contractors here that we have to worry about. The bid consisted of three elements: their base bid, the cost of their payment and performance bonds, and the base course or all their rock. Selland came in at $2,048,881, and Hearst came in at $2,043,700, a difference of $5,181. So on a $2 million bid, that's a really tight bid. Now this cost, the $2,043,000, the apparent low bidder, which is Hearst, and we didn't see anything wrong with the bid, so I'm sure that Leidig is going to be extending them a contract. Does not include electrical fees, which are probably going to be $300,000 to $350,000, if not a little bit more. And general contractor fees, which is a percentage of their markup and their general conditions. So we should get a total cost on this, but this was still lower than, I mean, we were surprised when we went out and did initial budgeting on it, when we had 65% plans. And that came in lower than we expected, and this was even lower than that. So again, trending in the right direction. We have a couple of different ways to pay for this. We'll either do a change order to the GMP, which we've done before, adding the cost of the RAB to the total jail contract, or we can pay for it out of our construction savings, the bond proceeds, or owner contingency. All are good options. I would suggest funding it through buyout savings from the beginning of the project. Remember, we're still tracking a little more than 9 million under budget. A lot of that was because of buyout savings. So we could use those savings and not really increase. I mean, it's going to show as an increase to the contract, but we're still not coming anywhere close to the buyout savings or contingency savings or other savings that we've realized so far on the job. So we'll continue to
Okay,
talk
so we
about
have
that.
some buckets of money that we can utilize then. You're
Yes.
feeling good about that?
Yes. Additionally, at the jail, I'll begin setting up regular meetings with the Superior Court judges and staff in the next couple of weeks, staff being GCTS, to discuss the operating parameters of the courts. Given that the new jail is going to be remote, I know this is a huge concern to the courts, and we need to start understanding the concerns, their legitimacy, and to get the judges on board and comfortable with whatever solutions we need to create. We've been talking about it. I thought we were going to have a mock-up by now, and we don't. So I'm just going to have to start scheduling some meetings with staff and the judges so we can kind of drill down into it and make sure that.
And Rob is online. I don't know when he jumped in. He's online now.
Yeah, I heard. So tomorrow morning at 10:30, I'm going to be meeting with the city of Ephrata School District, and some other stakeholders to discuss alternative routes for residents on the detour for the RAB. The goal is to develop routes that will alleviate traffic congestion near the schools due to the detour for the RAB. And really the biggest impact they're seeing is, or they're worried about, is the beginning of school season. You know, if we take the full 8 weeks, that puts us at September 12th. You know, so there are incentives for the contractor to finish early. You know, we might get lucky and only impact it for a week, but regardless, I know a lot of people are worried about that. So the goal is to come up with alternative routes that we can communicate to the local residents and parents, things like that, that are going to be affected by this detour. And I'll let you know how it goes. And we're going to, I was going to wait to start a social media campaign. I know I shared the detour route with Ray Towery, the city of Ephrata, who gave that to Columbia Basin Herald, who posted a story. So I felt compelled to do a Facebook post this morning, because when you read the story on Columbia Basin Herald, you would have thought the city was doing a roundabout and the county had nothing to do with it. Not that, you know, I mean, this happened once before when I took the trees down at the courthouse. The city happened to be doing trees at the park, and so everybody just jumped all over the city for the trees at the courthouse, and I just kind of sat there quiet and let that happen.
Sometimes it works to our benefit.
I thought it was kind of funny. But I don't, you know, I want the public to know, you know, exactly why. So I explained it again a little bit in a Facebook post this morning. And I'm sure I'll get lots of pushback, but I'll address concern as long as people aren't being just absolute jerks, you know. I will reply to folks and let them know what's happening. And speaking of the city, they have not yet repaired that well. So they had parts on order and they were supposed to be here Friday morning. I talked to Rob Harris this morning and they were sitting on a loading dock somewhere. So they hadn't received them yet. So I know they're working on it. The big thing for him is irrigation. So we're going to continue to limit some of our irrigation here at the courthouse, because we use quite a bit on the courthouse lawn. We have moved to nights, which they say is okay. And they say they're doing okay. They're just, we're going to be sensitive to it. And if they need us to help out a little bit more, then we will. Also on the jail, we do have a landscape bid opening coming up. So all the landscape proposals are due to Leidig Construction on the 10th, and then Leidig will turn in their formal proposal since they're self-performing some of this along with those on July 14th or 15th for a public bid opening. So I'm not going to be here. I'll be at NACO for that, but Kevin will cover that. So we do have landscaping figured out, and the furniture, fixtures, and equipment package FF&E. That entire bid is complete, and the architect is getting ready to advertise that. So that's coming. Moving on to the prosecutors, I did speak with Kevin McRae last week regarding the state Supreme Court decision. I mentioned Chelan County's comment regarding the recruitment of attorneys from the southeast, and it raised an eyebrow, but not much else. It does pose a different logistical issue, though, that I'm going to keep an eye on. I don't know how the county will meet the requirements of that without using more remote attorneys. We can't find the attorneys now. He's short already. And from an IT standpoint, the advent of more remote attorneys will need to examine changes to our network architecture to facilitate access to the network, VPN capabilities, and various network drives, enabling you to perform your job as a county employee effectively, regardless of your location within the county or the state. We are currently evaluating a Microsoft platform that will kind of make this better, and I anticipate that from a security standpoint, we'll probably do some kind of a capital project next year that we'll discuss during the budget process that sees us possibly go to smart cards and USB readers. They make these smart card readers, they're not much bigger than this. You plug it into your computer, your laptop, you can slide your card in there and you're automatically authenticated on the network. So where we still have the VPN, a lot of the VPN goes away. It makes it very easy to just automatically, it's almost like just being here at the county. The DOD's been using the system for years. It's super secure. It's been cost prohibitive for us in the past, but if we have to start, you know what, let me back up. When we went through COVID, we made do, right? We had laptops, people who had to work, and they used the VPNs, and they had various issues, but we kind of got through it without doing anything quote unquote permanent. But if we start really needing to contract with attorneys, and we have a lot more, you know, remote attorneys, it's not the same thing as, I don't know, I don't want to divide us up, but it's not maintenance. These are, you know, legal proceedings that are happening from out of state now. We're going to have to make sure that that technology rises to that need and is reliable and secure. And so we're investigating all of that right now. Rest assured, we'll make sure that they can do it. Wheeler Road. So Kevin's on vacation. He's back in Wisconsin, but he did schedule a meeting today that he's running to discuss solutions with the paver and our geotechnical expert. I told him I'd take the meeting. He wants to take it. He wants to run with this. It appears there's a little bit of disagreement on the best way to fix the parking lot. So Kevin wanted to kind of drive that meeting between Eastside Asphalt and our geotech engineer. The soonest Eastside can get back out to pave is July 14th. So we hope to have a resolution and everybody on the same page by then. Of course, I'll update the board on whatever resolution along with any associated costs. So, and we're talking to the city of Moses Lake about this too, with Brad, you know, so he's in the loop. I need to call him this week and kind of give him an update, but we're likely going to go with the GeoGrid solution, which is the cheapest thing out there, but we also will need to do a storm swale kind of in between the parking lot and where the storage units are. So along that edge right there.
On the west side.
Yeah, on the west side, yeah. So between those two things, I think we'll alleviate any issues with ecology. City of Moses Lake should be pretty good with that. And I don't want to talk to them about they've got a drainage ditch, you know, on the side of Wheeler, between Wheeler and our property, and it kind of drains onto our property. It drains onto every property. So I'll talk to them about possibly building up that bank a little bit so we're not catching all of the road water as well. So the surface water from Wheeler. I don't know that that's our responsibility. So we are inching ever closer to the NACO annual conference in Philadelphia. Keith, Evan, and I have all submitted our claims for advanced per diem, so you'll see that in this week's auditor's vouchers. I received an email this morning. Well, we're getting a lot of emails from folks, meet us at this table, meet us at that booth, network with us here and there. But we got one this morning from the National Council of Mental Well-Being. And it was interesting. The paragraph highlights a NACO survey, and its results were a little bit different. So in part, it reads, in NACO survey, county leaders called out mental health and substance use as a crisis level concern for their communities. I'd love to pick up our conversation about mental health first aid training and how it teaches county employees to identify and respond to signs of mental health and substance abuse challenges with their peers before a crisis happens. So where you'd expect this to, as soon as you see the headline and the short narrative, you'd think it'd be angled towards corrections members of the public, but it's towards one another, which could definitely be, I think, worthwhile training as we continue to affect culture here. One part is to ensure that we're looking out for each other in all aspects, I think. And so I'm going to make sure I make time to visit that booth and learn more about it. So I thought that was, to see it, specifically directed at helping your fellow employees. I thought that was different. So, typically see that. The high performance leadership, you should have seen an email regarding the next class for HPL. I don't know that the board had any questions. I hadn't gotten any feedback. We did have Caitlin, Jim Cook, Gina Saldana, Teresa Crawford, Kevin, you're in that one, Nathan Poplowski, and Barb Vasquez. I wrote this on Thursday, but since then I've met with Barb, and she does want to go to this class, but she's really worried about the August timeframe and the amount of work she has with BOE and the things she's learning. She'd like to defer to January if she can. I don't have an issue with that as long as we're still planning on doing this again. So as long as the board doesn't have any issue with that, I'll scratch Barb for this one and get another name in there. So she does. She definitely wants to attend. She's just worried about the workload she has with BOE and that kind of thing. So if the board doesn't have any issues with that, then I'll scratch Barb and get a different name in there.
That's understandable.
Okay, so I've got two head nods
Kevin,
here.
yeah, no, I'm
So,
good with that.
Okay. Let's see.
Because
Now,
if you're concerned with the lack of time, you will have, it's definitely time consuming.
it is time consuming, yeah, and it's definitely worth it. So I got through this all really fast. I'm surprised. So here's an interesting note. As we talk about risk, is I thought that our risk manager was going to join us.
Well, can we call him?
Wants to have Laura-
No, that's all right. That's all right. It's just, there was a story last week. The city of Cle Elum has filed for bankruptcy. Have you guys seen this?
I heard they were going to.
Yeah, there's a big developer that they're upset of, yes.
Well, so yeah, they filed for Chapter 9, citing a $26 million debt stemming from a land development dispute with City Heights Holding from more than 10 years ago. There was a good story.
It's Black Rock, that's basically Black Rock. Isn't that what it's called, Black Rock?
I don't know if it's Black Rock or not, but it's interesting
Yeah, you
to
Google
see
it
the
and
story.
they,
It would be
They
interesting to take a deep dive into it. City council unanimously voted to move forward with the bankruptcy proceedings and allow its debts to be reorganized under court supervision. The city made the deal with developers, and that was supposed to last 25 years. Then when the developer was ready, the city was not, and they began arguing about the agreed upon contract. And the city tried to change the contract after they'd signed it, and no work had begun. They just decided the city was getting the short end of the stick. So they didn't allow the development. So the city lost in court. And the city's annual budget is only about $5 million. So it brings to light the risk issues, financial risk issues that a city or a county can get into when it doesn't take a lot of lawsuits to really hurt a public entity, especially, cities are so much smaller. City of Ephrata is much bigger than Leon. They have 60 employees and, they don't have 600 like us, but it just goes to the point of how important it is to do your due diligence before getting into a tenure lease or whatever. So
making promises, it sounds really
Yeah.
good, that you have 20 years to do
yeah,
it.
I just as an example, right?
That
So
sounds interesting.
Oh, well, they had to do bankruptcy, otherwise there's no other way for them to move forward. What
Yeah.
it sounded like.
and I'm definitely not throwing Dell or Renew under the bus. It's just,
I know.
it's one of those things where we worry about lawsuits and
I agree.
tort claims and all that kind of stuff. It's just
That's
the
why
need to
if we owned
really
the
be
building,
careful.
We wouldn't have to worry about that.
What's that?
If we owned the building, we wouldn't have to worry about that. Always
Yeah.
find a new tenant.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, so a lot going on. Thank you for the email this morning about consent.
Yes.
That was a good reminder because I wouldn't even have thought about that. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even think of, I just thought, oh, 4th of July is on a Friday. I'm usually off on Fridays, so I don't even have to think about it. So I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yes, sir.
But,
I'm here for it.
so thanks. Any questions for me at all? Rob, anything from you?
No, no questions.
Yeah.
It's 8.
That's what I've got. Thank you again for the dress. Sorry, it was wrong color. Not for me, for my wife. I'm on
Thank you,
YouTube.
Tom. It is 8:50. We are in recess until 9 o'clock.
Glad you made that clear.
Good morning. It is 9 o'clock. We are here with Jim Anderson Cook to go over our weekly update for development services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy Monday. Today is June 30th. And why that's significant to development services is it's the end of the docket cycle for our comprehensive plan amendments. So today at 4 o'clock is the final point in time in which we will accept applications for comprehensive plan amendments, which also includes, of course, redesignations, zone changes, unified development code text amendments. So I've created a tentative docket, which you have in front of you for the 2025 cycle. And we have the usual suspects. So Grant County has, of course, the annual amendment to the transportation plan. So our part-time engineer, Dave Bren, was kind enough to update that plan for us. So it goes out to 3031 now. So that'll be rolling through this year. Brant Mayo at the EDC was kind enough to send us all the projects that he has received applications for this year. So we'll be amending Chapter 5 of the Economic Development Element and Appendix J. We've received so far 3 applications from Tomer Construction Company. One of them is to amend a mineral resource overlay at a gravel mine down in Warden that's been in operation for several years already. We have a redesignation from rural remote to a rural residential 1 out on Road A in the Ephrata rural area. We have a redesignation request to change from rural industrial to a rural general commercial out at Naylor. And then we have a redesignation from rural residential 1 to rural resource out in the Quincy area off of Road Q. I'm not expecting to receive, I don't know of, I haven't heard of any additional applications that are going to come through today. So hopefully that's the final docket for this year. Nothing terribly crazy. Second page represents some Unified Development Code amendments. So the tentative docket for the 2025 UDC amendments. First one is a proposed amendment put forward by a constituent, Marion Heilig. Marion would like to propose that we allow for clustering in the open space conservation designation in Grant County. Clustering is, of course, a way by which we allow for smaller lot creations, lot sizes in predominantly our agricultural designations, but Marion would like to see that happen in the open space conservation designations as well. Grant County is putting forward an application. My office is putting forward an application to amend the Unified Development Code Chapter 2504 to further define permit application review procedures and specifically review timelines. This is in response to Senate Bill 5290 that required agencies, municipalities to, again, just define the time by which we review type 1s, 2, and 3 permits. So we already had that in our code. This is just going to brush that up a little bit. We're going to make some miscellaneous amendments, text amendments to the UDC throughout all chapters. There's not a lot there. We're going to do some work in our condo chapter to clean some things up there, and then we're going to change. Currently, code says that we must finalize short plats within 1 year. State statute says that that should be within 5 years. So we're going to align with the state statute of 5 years. And then finally, we're going to, and there's a typo there, we're going to amend Unified Development Code Chapter 2524, not 252408, to establish the shrub step mitigation bank, the requirements and the impact fees. So any questions on that docket or something that commissioners were expecting to see that is not there?
Doesn't look too crazy here.
It's not 18 like it was last year, so.
Make us 30 minutes. We'll get through this.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. So part of the 2027 update that's coming up that we're kicking off this year is we have to, of course, well, not of course, we are required by state statute to insert a new chapter in our comprehensive plan, and that's to account for climate resiliency. So I've been working since, well, in the 2023-2025 biennium, we applied for a grant with the Department of Commerce to begin work on the creation of that chapter. We began the work in earnest at the end of 2024 and throughout the first half of 2025. We closed out the grant closes today. And so we sent to the Department of Commerce our first set of deliverables, and that's what's in front of you now. So the work that was done by our outstanding consultant Measurement delivered these deliverables last week. And one of the deliverables, this is deliverable number 2, is an assessment of Grant County climate impacts. I'm not going to, of course, do a page turn on all 58 pages of this. This is for the commissioners to review on your own at your own time. But we focused in on 4 impact areas. Of course, temperature, water or water availability or the depletion of water, how climate impacts agriculture, and then, of course, climate risks to wildfire. There's also was a requirement that we do a gap analysis, which is also attached. So you'll find the Grant County Climate Policy audit findings, or specifically a gap analysis that was conducted. And really what that entails, again, it's in and around the 4 climate impact policy considerations, again, water, agriculture, wildfire, and temperature. But this consultant looked at the comprehensive plans of all, not only Grant County, but also, City of Ephrata and Moses Lake and Warden and Royal City and all the other surrounding municipalities to see how their plans accounted for climate resiliency and looking for, again, those gaps in their policies, so that we can hopefully in the 2027 update, as we all update, and the county is the driver of that update, can close those gaps in those climate policies. So again, I'm not gonna page turn on it, but something that maybe we can review at your own time, and we can have a discussion if there's questions on it, maybe in a future update. So Commissioner Jones, didn't get the packet, but
Thank you.
so before you walked in, today's the 30th, so it's the last day to
Yeah, I was off.
You're on, okay, perfect. All right, so I won't repeat, but so that being said, I don't really have any other additional updates. If there are no questions, I will cut this short so that we can get back to the office. And I've got a grant to close out for the No Net Loss Shoreline. That's deliverables are due at the end of day today. So
Hearing none, then we'll go into recess until 9:30 when we're back for Commissioner Office update.
Okay. That is an interesting read.
Not even on.
I just announced us on and didn't hit the buttons.
Well,
It's on me.
Okay, so I guess we could do a recap of what we've talked about quickly.
thanks, Carrie. She sent a message saying cameras.
Well, I announced our meeting to go live and I did not hit the camera and video buttons. So we've been in a meeting for 10 minutes.
So basically, we talked about tourism, reviewing
Yep.
the RF, is it RFP or RFQ?
RFP.
For the tourism brochure,
Travel planner,
travel planner.
publisher.
And it was decided that the tourism committee would review it and then send it to the commissioners for review.
Well, no, everybody's gonna review it all at the same time.
Oh, we're all reviewing it.
It'll be an open, not all in one meeting. I'll send all of you guys a scoring sheet and all of the RFPs. You'll have a deadline to send me your responses. And then we talked about vacancies on boards and committees. We reviewed this week's meetings, calendar invitations. And then the public comment letter that's on consent. It's not one that you guys have done before. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention
So
that it's
the
on.
Fairgrounds has 2 vacancies.
Fairgrounds has 2 for the Fair Advisory Committee. Homeless Housing Task Force, we're waiting for a response from the Association of Small Cities and Towns. And then we now have a vacancy on the Tourism Advisory Committee for District 3.
But will also have one for cities and towns, right?
We currently have a vacancy, our
For a
small city, he has resigned officially.
Okay, so we have 2 that we need to fill for tourism and 2 for the fair advisory.
1 for tourism, 2 for Fair Advisory Committee, and then a primary and an alternate for the small cities representative for the Homeless Housing Task Force.
Oh, the task force is a small city, okay.
Yes, yep.
Sorry. Clearly, I did not write that down very well.
It's a lot.
We're jumping around, okay.
And then we are forwarding the request for a meeting from the Thriving Together NCW to Dell with Renew.
And after your review of the public comment letter, do you want that letter? I don't believe it's one that you've done before, so do you actually want to put in a letter? If you could review that.
I was actually looking for, I couldn't find the letter that they sent us requesting that, or they just wanted us to fill in.
They sent the email on Thursday and I forwarded it to you guys.
Okay, I was looking on the agenda, okay.
The draft letter is on the agenda. It's number 4.
Yeah, I read that and I read the letter. Who sent it?
It was from Austin Rohr, spelled R-O-H-R, but I forwarded it to you. So,
Thank you.
yes.
When I looked at it, I'm like, oh, yeah. Action needed, okay.
But I can bring that up again at the consent agenda review meeting tomorrow if we wanted to move to Emily's discussion topic.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm just here because I do the Tyler Tech Grader Project something meetings. And I sent an email last week. I don't know if you had a chance to review it. But essentially the go live for Tyler has been pushed to tentatively October. So, if anyone
Which I
had,
think is a good idea.
I was just here. If anyone had
How
any,
long ago should have that been figured out that, the account number length was not going to be compatible? I mean,
I thought it was a
I know we
check
like
number.
to,
it's the check numbers.
Okay, the check numbers, because I thought the account, we were briefed on the account.
So when
That's
they,
where we ran into a situation. Our
Yeah.
office.
they were doing testing before the go live, and they realized that the check numbers were only 9 digits long, but the county requires 10, but Tyler Tech only allows for 9. So they're gonna have to do some significant coding type work in the program to make it so they can have 10.
were you in the meeting that took place, it was like a week ago with a lot of other county departments?
You're talking about the one that was on Monday, that training?
Might have been Monday,
We
the
had-
training.
We had a
ours the
separate
Friday
one.
before.
Oh, okay.
But did they have a meeting on Thursday? Because I told the court I wasn't able to find it. It was on my calendar and it couldn't get on
We
How
had,
was that checked?
on the Thursday.
that was the Tyler Tech Grader project.
Okay, because I couldn't get on and it showed that there was a meeting and it was out there, like in. So,
But yes, that was the meeting that I went to that I sent the email about, and I forwarded the documents from that meeting too.
Phone calls I got about the one that must have been Monday, I think it was Monday, because they wanted to, there were a couple people that wanted to talk and we got out early, I'd already left. It was not very positive. They were basically like, if this was me, I would be embarrassed to not even have had that meeting. Now, I wasn't on the meeting, so I don't know. And I didn't really dig real deep into it because it doesn't matter what I think on that whole project. But I don't know, just the feedback I continually am getting on that, it's not gonna be ready in October.
Yeah.
Be lucky if it's ready in
okay,
25.
so we've got to figure out how to do the higher check numbers, do the accounting, because they thought they had some workarounds for the accounting numbers when they don't go into smaller, like our office, because we have different
Yeah, so
projects.
for our office, we, a couple months back, had gotten sent like an example of what the account numbers would look like. We reached out because we noticed that some of our sub-departments weren't there. We were advised that those would be processed differently through the system, so we wouldn't have sub-account numbers anymore. But then at the training, it turns out that we actually do need those sub-account numbers, so now they're going to have to go in and figure out how to create them. So they're gonna work on that. Public Works, they ran into a significant issue with Public Works because WinCams is what Public Works uses on their end, and that has not yet been integrated into Tyler Tech.
Wouldn't that be like, what do you use? In like the step one? Oh, we don't work with that program.
It sounds like it came up at their training, which I think was one of the ones that was on that Monday.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And Holly is the COA rep.
Yes. Holly Sutton,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
KOA.
Yes.
I'm gonna set up a one-on-one with her. Just ask all the things that I've been told from different people, because I'm not very involved, but it makes no sense to me, this whole project, how it's gone. Each time you're gonna roll out, everyone's like, whoa, we're rolling out what? We can't roll out, like, they were scared for July 1st, like, we don't even have anything in our system for this to even happen. So, either, like, it sounds way off, so I just think that's what I will do. I'm just gonna ask questions that I can't ask in a setting like this, be very direct to that person, and just ask for the real answers.
I did ask at the meeting with the questions that we had that came up during our training, if we need to follow up with Tyler about those, if we just need to follow up with accounting. Holly did say we just need to follow up with accounting on those questions because Holly herself doesn't do. She kind
Holly's
of,
basically the cheerleader, the facilitator.
yeah, she does the
But
meetings.
she's probably done enough of these to know how bad we're doing at it, and that's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, she talks about kind of where the county is at, the percentages they're at, but then as far as the actual implementation of the
It's
program,
on the county.
yeah, she
which
doesn't have anything to do
Those
with that.
people aren't capable of doing it, so
What's frustrating for me is that there's two people on Tyler that are supposed to be working with the county, directly with the county for this whole software program. I don't understand how, they know the system, how could they miss all these things from the very beginning?
Well, we know there's some issues, so I guess moving forward, maybe we do need to have a meeting directly with Tyler. I don't think some of these problems, I know the accounting, they were totally aware of our accounting numbers, and they said they had it figured out. So apparently,
how much money are we into this already? I mean, maybe we just stay where we're at and wait for a better cohesive group to implement.
I don't know.
Mandy next, so.
No,
believe
none
that
of
was
the
canceled.
updates, Tyler, that's what, or canceled. It's either, those are the two options.
Haven't canceled yet that I know
Not
of,
yet.
so.
but
Hopefully
it's
soon.
just,
Okay,
it's
now,
just
sorry.
Mandy, so. But she would probably be the one to know how much we've paid Tyler Tech so far. I would think.
I think for us, I think we need to have Tyler, those two people that are working with our county, they need to be on a Zoom meeting or something so that they can explain to us why we're having these issues and why they didn't come up a long time ago. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it sucks because I feel like I don't really know any of it, because I don't. But I know that from what I get told from you guys, like all the employees, is that it's not good at all. And none of it is good, from system to putting it into place to anything. Yet we just float with it, and we're gonna be floating in a year on the same place we're at, is what it looks like to me.
I emailed,
When did it
Mandy, see
start?
what we've spent on
2024?
I don't know.
2023.
It's hard because your elected official peer that's over this project is in charge of it, but you're the fiduciary responsibility for the entire county. You're the one that's gonna take it on the chin when things go bad, because that's what
Already
people
going bad.
look. I know. So
this
that's what
started in
hard, the divide is
2023?
hard.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's what
Well, and it's
Cindy
hard because we've had, the two that researched it and wanted it are no longer here. Well, actually,
Maybe we
there's,
should have paused
three.
then.
there's 3 people that have done the research. So now we have a new accountant that is learning our old system, trying to learn the new system, and then figure out how it merges. And the ones working on it now, Felicity, she may be the only one that's, she wasn't even the head payroll person. So we've got all new people from a year ago, a year and 2 months, 13 months, 14
But I
months.
mean, that, to me, you just saying that is part of the problem. She wasn't even the head payroll person. But instead of hiring a head payroll person in that position, it's made her the head payroll person. So it made someone that wasn't good enough to be the position, put them in the position,
Well, and I
rather
don't
than
know that,
hiring the
but-
position. But that, it
I'm just
is, that
saying
is a
it's-
prime example of why it's going to continue. Because she's going to leave, because that is a lot of pressure on someone that was just a support employee and now is the person. So that's going to weigh on her, and she's gonna go, whoop, I'll switch to this thing, that's more my thing.
Well, and I just want to say, I wasn't saying that she wasn't qualified. I'm
No,
saying
no,
that
I
she's
understand
new.
that.
I mean, they're all new.
Yeah.
And so I think with the grace of,
Do we have, are we short employees in the accounting department? Is that?
I think we're short 2 right now.
that
yeah,
it's
but it's also, I think this extra work, I think if it
on
moved
the
as
website
smoothly.
for hire?
Yeah.
Assume so. One of them just left on the 20th, was her last day of June, so. I mean,
It's not
that
our
second one's
department, so
newer.
it's, you don't really know what's even going on. I mean, you see the updates.
It seems to me like part of the issue is that maybe with the implementation of the program, there wasn't a lot of reaching out to the other departments for the need of what the program needs to be able to do for them. That seems to be a lot of the weird things that they're kind of running into, like win cams and the check numbers. It sounds like the treasurer's office kind of picked up on as soon as they saw it. That's how
There's portions of it that I know Carrie was talked to and I was talked to, Vanessa was talked to, like with contract management for grants. And they, at the time, they were just asking our opinions about it. And then I guess at some point it was decided that they were going to do it. And that was something that we did not know that the decision had been made until Emily and I went into the training. And so when it comes to records retention, we are now going to have another source that is going to be holding contracts. So we're not sure, I mean, Emily's the records retention person, so we're not sure what that's going to look like. And I mean, I know we sent you guys our email with the questions that we had coming out of that training. We, as far as I know, they have not emailed me. I don't know if they emailed, we have not gotten a response about any of it yet.
I'm gonna work on drafting a email just to send to them so we can do it that way. That's all I got.
BOE budget,
No, I meant the budget, the big boy.
the budget meetings?
Yes,
Yes.
since
okay.
we're here.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Yeah, so you'll be meeting with Mandy next, so it still has to be decided how the board wants to see the budget meetings this year. We have the tentative date scheduled for the first and second week of November. Do you want them ran like before, just tentative 10 budget meetings in a 4-hour period? Or do you want everyone to have their specific timeline again?
I think we need specific timelines with short breaks in the middle, not for us, but for Mandy. If she has no time to make changes in between meetings, they're not gonna get done. So for us, obviously, we're just sitting here, we don't do any inputting, so yeah, gets a little boring, but if they don't have time to do it and she doesn't have a second and a third to be recording what the changes are and what they need to do. I mean, Sydney remembers, maybe you guys don't, but like when it was the others, they would have 2 or 3 of them in here and they would be inputting right while we were talking about things, whereas last year, I don't think the things we talked about just got inputted because I think she didn't have time.
And it seemed expedience was more of the focus last year, and then expecting her to do it afterwards. But
And then didn't get it done afterwards.
I think that maybe more time for the meetings would be better.
How long of a break would you like in between them?
Me, none. I could roll right through all of them, but then it's all gonna be wrong again.
Or maybe just make them longer so that when you're discussing, she's got
Has
more time.
to work through them.
Well, I think it would be nice if Mandy brought an additional person or two. This is the first time ever that I've done this. The accounting has only had 1 person.
Well, she had Michelle with her, but
Michelle wasn't there at all the meetings. Sometimes it was just Mandy.
My question is why, I mean, I'm on the county's career openings and there's nothing on there for any accountant person.
on the last update where she talked, I remember her saying that they were good, they had it under control. And maybe that meant they didn't post it. I assumed that it was posted.
And I think they were hoping to post. Or look at some of the accountants that applied for public works. There was some discussion there.
Remember that?
That was like, what, 3 weeks ago?
We got Mandy.
And I was told that I did bounce through the budget really fast because I know what I'm looking for. And not everybody was moving, so I will not be bouncing through. I will just be
Just
like,
bring your nail file.
I will be
and some
sitting there
music.
waiting and I won't be inputting budget.
So maybe if we,
You'll have one
oh,
in
here
June,
comes
so-
Mandy. She's here right now. So maybe we can talk to Mandy about it since she's here.
Yeah, it's 10:01.
Thank you.
I'm good.
And just real quick, you're gonna see a new sign at our door up front. We had an incident with a person last week and 911 had to be called. So this is being posted outside of our office because it is getting a little tense.
Who are they looking for? The commissioners? or-
Public records. He wanted public records and exploded. Not because of the record, because of how the county has mistreated him over his last court career. It's a repeat offender.
And just so you know, that sign is about 4 times that size of the hospital.
So, just so you know, we are gonna be posting this at our door.
Does he need to be,
It was
No,
decided not to by limited input.
Right now, no.
Come on up. We have a discussion for you two that we want
It
to
is
bring up.
10:02 a.m.
Abreast
We're
of
going to
budget
continue
meetings.
into our.
Oh,
okay.
Update.
Oh, yeah, good time to start, so we're prepared.
Just want to know how you guys run them
I
this
thought
year.
you guys, I must have seen an old email. I thought you guys had a meeting.
Huh?
I
Yes, last week.
Oh, okay, I must be, I'm digging into my emails too. I'm a week off. Sorry. I just wanted to remind you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are very helpful.
Thanks.
So we want to start with budget?
Yeah, if you would like to real quick. So last year, how they were held, there was like a 4-hour block of time with 10 meetings in there. It was discussed by the board about doing individual times instead this year, going back to the way we used to do it. And then making them a bit longer so Mandy has time to input during the meetings, because it's putting a lot of pressure on you to go back upstairs and put in all your changes, so.
Hopefully we'll have two.
And that would
We have
not
another
answer
change.
questions outside of the page where, the chart we're talking about too. We'll go at everybody else's speed, not my own.
Oh, we aren't doing that one. We just brought you the paperwork.
No, she's talking about during the budget meetings.
Oh,
I got
gotcha.
trouble.
Oh,
I
okay.
was like,
Oh, I
you're
thought you were
jumping
doing that.
ahead,
Okay, I thought you were
you're
doing those
jumping
gone.
ahead.
Are we
It's
doing
like,
that right now? We're like, no. Gotcha.
No, I'm gonna be really trying really hard.
You at 10, you at 10:30, you at 11, you at 11:30, having a more schedule.
Yeah, whatever works best for them, and I mean, it's time for us to try to manipulate the.
But what I was
Okay.
saying in our meeting is that what works best for us is to just go.
Well,
But that
and we
doesn't
did that,
work
and but it's
because you
hard when you
can't
have one
put the
person.
numbers in. You can't even
Is,
write down what we're saying because we're just all three talking.
Mhm.
but, and we usually have more than one person. Is there an ability to get a
We're,
second
we're
person down?
hoping, but
Okay.
I mean, now we had a change again, so
Are
Aaron
you
left, so.
advertising or?
Wait, these are my,
Oh,
It's already closed.
we closed now, we just have to interview.
Okay, so you did, they did advertise.
Yeah.
So then the consensus of the board, how would you like us to get these scheduled? Individual times?
Slow and steady.
So if we, how can we slow them down and go? I mean, because.
I will be real quiet. I will go with the group.
Because I know what Katie had done the year before is that it would be, a question would occur, and then she would go, okay, do we have one commission, we could go down the line, yes, no, whatever, on the answer, or what is the answer? And we could just individually go to each one, but I don't know what the time frame, because I know we did it before like that, and then we'd be waiting and waiting and waiting for the next one to show up, and then, I don't know
Well,
what's best.
basically, Katie would read the front of it, what was going on, and would go through everything.
Mhm.
And then kind of go through. But to me, I thought, when you look at a page, you don't have to go line by line. You can pretty much just see it and see what's out 100% over budget or 50% over budget.
And some of the departments are super easy. And maybe if we took and grouped those smaller ones into, like the easy ones in a chunk and have them all like come in. I don't
But we
know.
did have some changes, and I think we did have Mandy, Mandy's making changes, and we're still looking at it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, did you change this? I'm on it right now. So I feel like, I know I moved too fast, so 100% my fault on that one. Made it
Well,
more
we just gotta figure
confusing.
out what's gonna work, how we wanna schedule it is the biggest thing.
And then usually there was one person that was utilizing the changes or doing the
Right.
changes, so that there were two
And
people
we'll
kind of,
hopefully
okay, did
we'll-
you get this one? Did you get that
Hopefully
one?
we'll have that, but we don't know. We don't know from day to day what's gonna happen.
I'm okay either way. I like the efficiency if a meeting runs short to be able to go on to the next one. Maybe we could book them two at a time, where so auditor and assessors are booked for one time, then the assessors and treasurers booked for the second time, but keep this one department booked in both times so that if one runs, I don't know, maybe not, if that's not.
Oh, like the VOCC, then they have.
Yeah, they're overlapping so that the next person is on deck if auditor runs short or whatever department it may be. If that's difficult to do,
I feel like if you're gonna do it that way, you might as well just do the chunk.
We'll do the chunk.
If you're,
Well, and the issue with that is then you have Swahil not working, just sitting in the audience for 45 minutes. And that's why I don't like the chunk either, because now it's like, okay, well, see if they're available. And it's like,
The coroner had to come from Moses.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
me, I'm saying, no, set me a time, I'm not coming over
Yeah.
on your weird schedule.
Then, yeah, then setting the time, if that seems to be the best, and
And somebody did take time, they figured out how long each one took.
Well, and we did that. We did that one year where I sat and I wrote
Yeah.
down on all the times that everybody took. But I'm like, so or maybe we should go through the list and go, okay, this department doesn't take very long. Maybe we could chunk them in like 20 minutes or
Sometimes we did
15 minutes. I don't know.
15.
I'm like, usually the museum doesn't need very long.
But
And
then if we have 30, 40 minutes, it will take 30 or 40 minutes. That's the thing.
That's
If you're
the
kind of
thing
short and
is
sweet.
that
And I
to
like it
give
when we
them
can have them come back. It's like, oh, your budget looks good.
maybe we can go through the list and go, okay, this is pretty short. Like the assessors never needs a whole lot of time. She has one one department.
And I will say that Kevin is a lot faster than our previous commissioner. So
That's good.
I guess we could ask them how long they want. They would
Well,
have the
maybe we
best
could, yeah.
gauge of how much time they think they're gonna need, right?
Yeah, because the sheriff's always needs longer, because they have more funds to go through. And then Tom needs more time. It's, the ones like that take up those, but I think we'll have to group them and then ask them, okay, this is what you have. How long do you think it's gonna take you to go through your budget? And then maybe add,
I think Michelle and I
Time
can
on it.
probably sit down and help you, tell you how long some of them, because some of them will ask for an hour when really they only need
And
20
they'll-
minutes,
yeah.
15 minutes.
And then maybe we can, go and time them too, this next time again, and write it down again,
Sometimes it changes when they have issues, so you
Well,
put
yeah, it's hard
15
to
and then it
know.
goes 30
I know,
and it's just
I
kind
know.
of
But we
difficult to
usually would have a
gauge.
buffer time at the end of the day to come back and
Mhm.
finish it.
Yeah, we'll do that, we'll go down
Could
this.
you do it the smaller budget, people the smaller budget first and then wait for the.
That would be, if we could
couple
group
bigger ones At
them,
the end, because if they need more time, then you do it at the end.
but then when we try to do that too, some people are gone. During the time so we'll try to get all the small ones grouped together and do them kind of rapid fire. The short ones, maybe, I don't know.
You
Seems
do
like
it
there's still changes.
We'll figure it out, and then we'll see.
People,
send something
we've
out
let
last
everyone know the first 2 weeks in November, so hopefully no one's booking vacations and stuff, so just trying to get it
Yeah.
solidified
So the
for
first week
people.
of November.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll let you know
Thank you, Barb.
what we come up with. Where we at?
So much, but so little at the same time. So, as you all have heard, we have postponed our go live with Tyler. We are now anticipating to go live October 1st. It was very unfortunate. We were very disappointed to
It's a
find
good thing
out,
we figured it out the day we
but
did.
at the end of the day, we think it was a blessing in disguise. That even though we could have gone live, that maybe we have some stuff that we can clean up and have better prepared for when we do go.
They kind of messed with us on our training. We had training set up for last Monday. And they were supposed to, we had everything in prod, and they were supposed to refresh all that down into our training and test modules. And there was a glitch in their system. They were not able to do the refresh. So when we got in for training, nobody had the right stuff attached to
Well,
them.
that's what I heard it was.
So we're
not
sitting
as
there trying to
effective.
set people up, which was not at all because it should have been already set up. But
Okay.
we anticipated having some glitches and things appear that, that's just normal, but not everybody being enabled and not with the correct
It was a nightmare.
security and so that it didn't go well. And then we had the check issue come up, so.
I don't know, I mean, yes, Tyler was supposed to do something and it's not that they didn't, it's that they couldn't. They had a glitch in their system, but because of that, we couldn't do the trainings like we had planned to do. If everyone had had their permissions, then it would have been us walking them through how to do it. But because no one had permissions, we had to first figure out what the issue was, then one by one, change everybody in the system on the fly. And
It wasn't pretty.
there's like 25 to 30 people in the room at the time. So,
And then we reached out to people, each department, asking them, who are gonna be the people that you need? And then we had surprise guests. Weren't everyone set up in fraud to do it? And there they are, and I was like, that is not the people that were on the list.
Okay, so you had.
So it was a mixture of things that caused it. But the big thing was Tyler had first off told us that it was either 7 digits or 8 digits on the check number. And we had mentioned it, I had mentioned it in here with Carrie and Daryl, and they said, no. Because I told them they made us take the first 3 digits off the warrants. And
Or
she's like, no,
conversion
we need
data.
those. And then we sent everything to the bank, and everything cleared the bank. And so we're thinking, okay, we're good. And then Carrie's like, no, we need 10 digits. And I was like, I don't think they had 10 digits. So that day that we had to make the decision,
So
we were online with Rob, and I said, we need 10 digits. And they have 9 available, I think on the old way. There was something that he goes, what, we can use 9 digits. And then we had Carrie on and everybody on, and they're like, no, we need 10. We have to have 10. So we had to make the decision that we'd hard code the 9, 1 digit on our warrants. But it had to be a special form designed in Tyler, and there's nobody that can do it for us to go live on July 1st. So that's when we made the decision to say, I mean, we couldn't do anything else about it. So we had to make that decision and say, okay, we have to wait to get somebody
So the
to
10
do
digit
the
is
form.
a treasurer request.
Apparently that's our policy, is that we have 10
Okay.
digits, and that's across the county. That would make, I mean, that's what they try to get and hold everybody to, all of the hospital districts, school districts, and everything. So, we don't want to be the one out that.
Okay.
well,
But
part of
they're
the
all-
reason is because they have such high volume of checks that they can't hand go through them. So they rely on their system to
Okay.
scan these, and if they're not the same number of digits or have uniformity across the board with countywide checks, they won't be able to do it. And it just puts too much pressure on the treasurer's office to have to manually go through checks and remove out everything that's Grant County.
And we issue a lot of.
Sorry, I'm just kind of like in my educational piece on this. 'cause
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't know either. We
Didn't
learned.
know it was in a policy.
Well, and Carrie is like, well, maybe I should have been in on it, 'cause she said she'd get the training request, and she's like, maybe I should have been on there because I could have said something earlier.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been, especially after we sent the checks in to US Bank and they cleared. How we got them to print, and we needed to send them in to make sure that the bank approved of everything that we had on our new warrants. And they came back fine. So we were like, okay, we're good. But we weren't. We weren't. We only had
And
8
then
digits on it.
I think in our office, we have the project codes. We need longer numbers of the project codes.
No, the commissioners have a sub-department
Are
for,
we the only ones that have sub-departments?
no, but you guys have communications and public records. And we have a way around that. That wasn't preventing us. We can fix that like this. We're just gonna make it a program code now.
Okay, program.
So, yeah. And anyone else that has that same situation, we can do the same.
But this gives us more time to set that up.
Yeah,
And then camps.
that was still a semi-issue, so now we won't have to do the hand king double entry,
Okay.
but we're still gonna have to import from,
They still have to build the
yes,
reports.
yes.
Who has built, Tyler?
I think there's Tyler's involved, and what's the guy's name from Cascade? Is it Cascade Computer or something that does their stuff?
Okay.
There's
For
another
what they
guy
Okay.
for WinCams that will do the WinCam side. They both have to write scripts for them to go back and forth.
Until they go live in Eames.
Yes.
which is anticipated to be when?
Well, I don't know, because they had said they wanted it, and then they said they didn't want it, that they wanted to stay in WinCam, so I don't know where they're really at on
Oh,
that.
okay.
But they did the demo, but I don't know if they did the demo on time and attendance, or if they did it in Eames. I thought they did it in Eames. Then it sounded like it was time and attendance. So I don't know. We'll have to reach out and ask them. I'm really not positive at this point. I think with all the changeover in employees, they saw the program in the very beginning, and it was Castro
Pastor and Karen, Sam and Karen.
and those guys that had seen the demo for Eames in the beginning, and they really, really liked it. Well, now nobody else has seen it because those people are not there anymore. And they're like, oh, well, we want to stay on WinCams. Well, they saw what Tyler could do, and it does a whole lot more than what WinCams does. So I don't know. They were supposed to have a demo, but I'm not sure that that's what they demoed to them this last time. Because wherever it was, I thought they were talking about time and attendance. After they saw the time and attendance, they were doing time and attendance
So they
in
said
it.
they liked the time and attendance.
Yeah, so I don't know if they did a whole thing at time and attendance and Eames. I need to reach out and ask them, because I don't know.
Those are all the questions I had.
Well,
20 minutes later, sorry.
That's right.
we're still wanting to know about our time.
How long would it take, how long have we worked?
Invested.
Oh, no, I was just curious how much, we had a question at our previous meeting. Yes, how much have we paid into Tyler Tech? And you feel like this is still the software to move forward on?
We can't scrap it now. We'd be too far into it.
Okay, so we paid a small fortune.
Well, we haven't gone over what we already, what our contract, actually, we should be, with some of the changes and stuff that's happened, we shouldn't be going over our contract, because we're not using all the modules. We're not using the receivable module because treasurer's not on it.
Okay.
And cash management is
So
a
some of
huge
this money is
piece.
being shifted for everything else we have had to make changes for. I don't know how much this, because it costs to have this form or whatever they have to do to hard code this 9 in. We don't know what the cost is yet.
We put
But I don't
$2.5
think it'll be
million
anything
in, didn't we,
over.
Or did we go up to 4?
I
Okay.
think we're still fine within what we contracted with them.
Okay, but we've been
At
paying.
this point,
We've
we
been paying
haven't,
as we've been going.
yeah, mhm,
We have a significant financial.
yeah.
We're
So-
vested, very, very vested.
Yeah, I mean, we're not at a point we can say, this isn't working, because it is.
Okay.
I mean, as far as we can tell, it
Yeah.
will.
It's not a design flaw or that kind, it was just miscommunication between our departments, that we didn't understand that something was needed, that was very important.
And then whatever their glitch was, they had some corrupted, like 3 corrupted files or accounts or something in Tyler that didn't allow them to do the refresh for us.
Okay.
And they finally
Was
figured
it
out what it
our-
was.
Okay, something within their system, not.
It's within whatever, it was within their system, not allowing them to do it, but they found it and fixed it. Those are always scary, but, I mean, every software has it. I think everybody goes through this when they go into a new software. You're just,
That was an unusual glitch. To date, all of our refreshes have had
Yeah.
nothing like that happen.
Oh.
It just happened to coincide with us relying on that refresh for training.
yeah,
And when people were waiting, yes, that's probably what it,
yes.
And it also messed up my permissions to where, because then our second go through, we thought, well, let's just walk them through where I do it and just show them. And then give them the opportunity if they want to stay to try to figure out their permissions. But then I couldn't even, every time I was entering an invoice, I was entering into a permission issue as well because of it, which I hadn't had the previous week. I'd gone through trainings with 3 different sets of people and didn't have any of those issues.
That was our big big question is, why did it change permissions if they couldn't do the refresh? And data was not in there, that had already previously
Well, if
been
there's
in there.
something that we as commissioners can do to help, let us know.
Well, we would love for anybody else just to take it over and do it, that'd be great. Just kidding.
Well, other than that, we've done it before successful. Daryl said, I'm just looking at it, Daryl said we're down 3% of revenue coming in.
We have Swahili waiting also for 10:15.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, Tyler was our biggest update for you
Sorry.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're right.
Sorry we extended it.
Hopefully yours is faster.
It is 10:23 and Swahili's going to speak super fast.
Okay. So, in May of 2025, we did have 26 juveniles in Chelan. That was 180 daycares for us, and the ADP was 5.81, and the total cost for the month was 32,744. And then I did a comparison of last May, and we actually were about the same numbers for kids 28, but the date of care was totally different because the kids were there for a long time. So it made 236 care days and resulting on ADP of 7.61. That's my graphic that I have for the financial piece. The intakes, we currently have 10 kids in detention. There were 3 added over the weekend. So the juvenile 1 has been with us for 654 days. Juvenile 2 for 97 days. Some of those are the big charges. Juvenile 3, assault in the first degree drive-by shooting for 93 days. Juvenile 3, I'm currently, he's going through the process to try to get him declination hearing, meaning he might be charged as an adult, but we still have to do that decline hearing. So it has been pending that for the juvenile 2, sorry. Juvenile 4, outstanding warrants for 32 days. Juvenile 5, unlawful possession of firearms on the second degree, and assault 1, 4 counts for 26 days. Juvenile 6, charged with theft in the third degree and custody for 12 days. Juvenile 7, charged with assault 4DV, residential burglary for 4 days. And like I say, the last 3 juveniles were new intakes over the weekend with burglary second and theft third. These are kids that we have never seen in the system. We even have to put them new IDs and everything because they were never been with us. And when I was waiting, I was reading an email saying that one of the juveniles is gonna send to a diversion and the other 2 are being charged but are not asking for any bail. So for right now, 7 out of the 10 kids have bail set. You guys can tell, in May, we actually had 22 kids or intakes, and so far in June, we had 19 intakes. And then the graphic after that is like business hours and after hours. As you guys can tell, usually, after hours, the one that we have more on May was 19 after hours and 3 during the business hours. And for some reason this month, we had 12 during business hours and 7 after hours so far. So it was backwards. So for my offender diversion unit, we have 187 cases right now, and 107 fall under category of diversion. For truancy, as you guys can tell, things are changing for this next current year, but as of right now, we have 152 active petitions, 55 stays, 74 state file, 27 state lifted, and 26 contempt of court. We currently have 193 dismissed cases, but I know my legal staff told me that she has at least 70 cases that are gonna be dismissed coming, moving forward. And the dependency, we have 189 active cases, 158 assigned to staff, 66 to delegate to volunteers, and one case that is actively monitored. And I still have meetings with Chelan to make sure that we're addressing any issues that we have. And right now, as you guys are aware, and I talked to you guys the last meetings that I've been with you guys, that between Washka, I serve on the finance committee. We successfully developed a formula to distribute the 2 million allocated for Becca. And that will give us 48,789 for the fiscal year of 2026. And that was a reduction, like we were anticipating, of 64,614. Because they want to eliminate some of the services, even though, but RCW, everything's still the same. I did talk to my judges for next year. It seems like they don't want to have any truancy court. But in other jurisdictions, what they're doing is, like, even if they don't have truancy court by RCW, they still have to file petitions. So what they do is they never leave the state. That means they never go to court, but the juvenile department can still intervene CVs or any other intervention that we can have. But it's apparently that the judges don't want any court for truancy for next year. Any questions? No? I went really fast.
That was fast.
Since we didn't have enough time, but all right, so
So on your last thing on administration, it says that Grant County is set to receive 48,000 for the 2026 fiscal year, a reduction of 64,000.
yes. Yeah, and that's what we used to receive, like 112, but because from the 7 million went to 2 million for the whole state, that's what we are gonna end up with, the formula we recommended to AOC. So I'm still waiting for the contract, but that's like what we recommended to them, so. Yes, so that's it. Any other question? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you for going fast.
Thank you.
I'm going to recess for 1 minute. Gotcha. Good morning, it's 10:30 a.m. and we are here with Dell Anderson for a renew update. Your screen is black, Dell, now it is white.
Got it.
There you are.
Morning, Bill.
You were too bright.
I know. Good morning. How are y'all?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to the 4th of July.
Good plans?
Yeah, we on the 6th, we head up camping for the week up on Lake Roosevelt.
Nice.
So it'll be nice. Good week to be off.
Yeah. A lot of my friends go to a lot of fun, cool places, but I know where I'll be. Probably
You'll be
behind
here.
the steering wheel.
Do you guys have any fun plans for the 4th?
No.
No. Sticking around.
Secure the bag. That's about it.
For sure. What? I have a couple of updates for you today. The first, I wanted to update you on our capital projects. The first of these are the Grand Coulee office project. This one is just a refresh of the kitchen and the group room, break room area that originally went out to bid a couple of months ago, and we had budgeted $15,000 for that project, but the bid that we received was over that $15,000 amount. And I didn't want this specific project to go over budget. So we went back, took a look at what the needs were, and provided a new scope, went back out to bid. The bid that came back in was just under $10,000. And so that's the one we're moving forward with and working with. And they're starting to form the schedule, and we're trying to look for weekends for that project to be completed so it doesn't disrupt any services that are there. So that one's finally going to move forward, and that'll be just a nice refresh there. Last year at Grand Coulee, we repainted and did new flooring, so we want to take care of the kitchen this year. And our last project at Grand Coulee for this year is to do the exterior paint. And so that will get that facility at least looking nicer than it currently does, and refresh it there for the clients accessing services. But I was happy with taking a look at the scope of the work we were looking for and realizing that the kitchen was overdone for what the need was. And so we went back and took care of that. And now it's under the budget that we need it to be under. So then the other project we're working on is Moses Lake remodel. And this site will be having the lobby remodeled and moving the front desk where it currently is behind the structural wall. So that will increase the waiting room space and provide additional safety to our front desk staff and reception. This project also includes refreshing the entire Moses Lake office site with new flooring, new paint throughout, and bathrooms updated, the break room updated. In this year's budget, we had budgeted $1.3 million for our capital budget for that project. And we are working with Integris out of Spokane that will be working with us on this project. We're also coordinating with our county maintenance team. Kevin Schmidt has been coordinating these efforts. But I wanted to make you aware that as we're moving forward, Integris did send us a proposal for the design and developing the scope of work. That proposal came out to $151,575. And that will lead us through a design phase. Hopefully we'll have a better idea and projection of what the costs of the renovation will be by the end of August. And then the actual construction would begin in spring of 2026. So that 1.3 million that we currently have budgeted, we'd use 151,000 of that to move forward on the proposal for the design and scope of work. And then we would be moving any budgeted item for the capital project and any additions that come out from the scope of work process to build into the FY26 budget. So I just wanted to make you aware of that as that proposal comes through the consent agenda phase. I'm not sure if that's us bringing that through or if Kevin Schmidt is bringing the proposal through. I wanted to make you aware of it. And then my other topic I had for you was just regarding our opioid abatement funds. It's been about 2 months ago, we went out for the request for proposal for organizations to submit proposals to utilize the funds across our county. Each of those proposals were scored by a panel that consisted of representatives here from Grant County and the city of Moses Lake, because we were combining funds for this purpose. We scored those, and now we have awarded organizations to utilize these funds. And so I wanted to make you aware of that. The organizations were they were notified of the award last week. And so just letting you know that the Grant County Sheriff's Office, they are receiving $28,000, $28,075.05. That will be for a 5% pay increase for a K-9 handler, a K-9 in training, Narcan security boxes in the jail living areas, and my medic kits for correction officers. Then for the Moses Lake Community Coalition, they'll be receiving $27,700 using a strategic prevention framework and SAMHSA's CSAP model. This proposal focuses on 3 evidence-based strategies, which are information dissemination, environmental strategies, and alternatives to substance use. The Grant County Health District was $35,000. That's funding the EMS Leave Behind program. That'll be another program using naloxone, and data-driven public health initiative aimed at reducing opioid overdoses for Grant County. And then the last one is Advance, which is awarded $63,921. And this is for carceral peer recovery coach. That's 0.4 FTE and an all-wheel drive vehicle. So they'll be able to transport individuals that need to get care elsewhere. But that peer be working with our jails as well. So just as an update on the total funding that will be utilized will be $140,610.73 is being used of our total that was allocated. was 141,253.82. For FY 26, we have an additional allocation that will be added when we go back out for those bids. But I just wanted to update you that the first piece of the project has been awarded, and those contracts are being developed, and we'll start moving forward on that work. Then just want you to be aware, I am paying attention to what's titled as the One Big Beautiful Bill that is making its way through Senate from a federal perspective. And I get updates from this from the Washington Council for Behavioral Health, who is our legislative group that supports all of our programs. Thriving Together is also providing reports on this as our administrative or our ACH, the Accountable Community of Health for our region as well. So they're sending us updates on this. It has had a lot of, if passed, it does have a lot of impact specifically to nonprofits, organizations that are specifically receiving federal funds. It does have an impact to the amount that the federal government matches in Medicaid programs. It also impacts the block grants that we receive that help with our outreach services. And then as it repeals Obamacare over a 10-year period, it would have impact to the group of individuals that were able to receive services that are working and also have Medicaid, as well as those that are undocumented that we're able to currently serve. And so I am keeping tabs on that. The impacts to some of it, like I said, have significant impacts to nonprofits. We're not seeing current impacts in our current contracting and this current phase that we're moving through, but we do anticipate there will be an impact. And right now, it's just kind of, I'm playing the wait and see of what that actually looks like and how that will impact us. It may not be as significant as what you see across other nonprofits that are fully supported by federal funds. And that's what I have for you this morning. And do you have any questions for me or any updates for me?
I sent you some information in an email. Let me know if you don't get it.
Okay. Was that okay?
I don't have any other questions. Thank you, Dale.
Yep, I've got it. I'll take a look at that, Kevin.
Take a look at them. Let me know what
Yeah.
you think.
Yes, Dale, I do have a question. I believe you're
Yes.
talking about 35,000 went for EM's, the health district for the
That's another feature with Narcan. It's
Okay,
the EMS.
Advance.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the one right before Advance?
Grant County Health District. And before that one was the Moses Lake Community Coalition.
Okay, and there wasn't one above Advance, it was the health district? I thought
There
it
was Advance, the Grant County Health District, Moses Lake Community Coalition, and the Grant County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, I got them all then. I thought I maybe missed. Okay.
Yeah. Still more funds to come. So,
Yeah, I see at the chart, we're getting more than.
yes. Yeah.
You know, Daryl's gonna see that and panic because he would like to have all those funds in our account so he can get the interest for them.
I know.
He's mentioned that a couple times, but I don't think we want to administer it, so.
Yeah. Nope. And it's interesting as a panel, I was advocating too with the jail because I know we have such a significant need in the jail. So as we have more funds available, there's going to be more opportunities for the jail to submit proposals so we can have better support there as well. Yeah.
Anything else for Dale?
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dale. We'll go into a brief recess until 10:45. Good morning. It's 10:45 a.m. and we are here for our fairgrounds update with Jim McKiernan.
Morning.
How are you doing, Jim?
I'm good. How are you all?
The
Great.
best day ever.
Just a reminder, I'm on vacation next week. More than likely, it'll be Rebecca doing the update, although there's not a lot this time of year other than we're just trying to finish. We're 6 weeks out from fair, so we're just trying to get everything done for fair. The The rodeo bleachers did come in today, so that construction should be done by early next week. They work 4/10, so they'll work through Thursday and then pick up any finishing things that need to be done on Monday. Tom Gaines came out. Well, Tom Dent was here Friday. Kevin came out for that, and we kind of showed him around a little bit, talked about the announcer's stand and VIP boxes that the Rodeo Association would like to build above the chutes, and just kind of expressed our interest in seeing if there's any state money available. Obviously, in the current biennium, that's probably not an option. But Tom, I think Tom and Dana came with him. Tom was appreciative of the tour. He hadn't really had that opportunity to see the grounds without a lot of people on them, so it was good. Tom Gaines and I spent some time looking at the area where the track has been removed. We're just waiting for that final bill from Public Works. And then Tom is going to see if Public Works is available to level that out with a grader and bring in some gravel. I sent Tom a note this morning and just said, hey, let's also have a backup plan of putting it out to bid if Public Works can't do it in time. It has to be done in the next 6 weeks. So it's kind of time sensitive to get that area usable. Other than that, things are progressing. Our Ice Connex is coming in tomorrow. That's free of charge from Zip Truck Lines. We're very appreciative of them giving us that Connex to put ice in during fair. And we do have some out-of-state travel requests coming up for November, possibly. And then January of next year, the Dirt Symposium. Hey, Zach. And whoop, that's about it. Anything else?
Did you say the fence guy showed up today too, or? not?
Oh yeah, fence person showed up today too. So they're gonna start ripping out the fence first, and then doing the install of the new fence. So yeah, that'll be really nice. Plus the gates, and it's gonna look amazing. We got most of the trees are trimmed. I got a couple more trees that I got to get trimmed, but other than that, we're almost done. And they do look really good after the first year. The first year they look like a bad haircut. Second year they look a lot better. And Shayla also saw the person you saw, Kevin, the person that we think has been was the person that took the Yeti cooler last week. And Shayla saw him and took a picture of him. I have not. Shayla doesn't work Monday, so we'll get that tomorrow. So we can show it to the sheriff's office and see if it's somebody that they know.
I was gonna try to fall into his house, but I had my mini on the back of my trailer and I couldn't get up the hill fast enough.
It's a pretty distinct e-bike.
Yeah.
Very distinct e-bike that the person was on.
He lives up there somewhere.
E-biking on
Yeah.
the Yeti.
Stole the Yeti from the fairground.
What is e-bike?
$500 cash inside.
Stole the Yeti, but it had some money in it.
Are they selling snow cones or what?
No, I don't know why. It was in a tax stall. And so, and the promoter said, we shouldn't have left it in there. I said, yeah, that's probably not the best idea, but
Yeah, if you're gonna hide something, put it in behind a shovel or something.
Yeah, don't
Person's
put it in
not
something
gonna
I'm gonna
steal.
open for a water.
plastic bag and under some horse poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then I did work on the other thing with the campsite, and I came up with a plan. I kind of sent that to Rob. We have 2 openings on our Fair Advisory Committee, and so I had Caitlin post that on the county website. And I'm encouraging Darcy to apply for one of those positions. I'd really like to get her back on the Fair Advisory Committee. She was phenomenal. And so if you, we'll see who we get. If you guys decide to appoint her, then that issue is taken care of. And she's also willing to sign a letter saying that she was volunteering her time during that transition. And I just want to say how much I appreciated her doing that, because cross-training is one of the most difficult things to do, because it's typical that the person gives notice and you can't get the position filled until after the person has left. So Darcy just wanted to make sure that our processes continued as bulletproof as they are.
Jim, did HR reach out to you about
Oh,
that?
yeah. Yeah, we've had an ongoing discussion. It became way more complicated than it needed to be. And so the letter from her saying that it was voluntary is going to be sufficient to take care of that.
So I'm curious, why didn't we just pay her for the time that she worked?
She never asked for that. There was no discussion of that ever at all. She had already left the county and was working at Mac at the time, and that was never, and it wasn't, she didn't leave under duress in any case. There was no.
No, I mean, to me, I personally felt like it was the right thing to do. She worked there to get a paycheck, and I felt that if she came back to help, she should have been compensated.
Yeah, she didn't ask for that at all. So I think the fact that she's willing to sign a letter that says that it was voluntary, she just wanted to assure that the process is continued correctly, then that should satisfy Decora's concerns from HR.
Perfect.
And then the only other thing I got is we're gonna have to get rid of some rock chucks next year again, because we're getting overrun again. But there's lots of solutions, but some of them are a little more interesting than others. So we'll probably have to bring in the person again next year, because I'm not sure we want too many weapons on the fairgrounds. Be kind of fun though. We could have a tournament, kind of like that carp tournament that happens on the lake. We could do a rock chuck tournament.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
They're bad this year, like really
They're
bad.
in Spokane too.
Yeah, they're really bad. The problem is they burrow underneath the transformers. That's where it really gets bad.
Yeah, no, they're bad.
They're under my Instastore container.
They like that.
They're under there. They keep popping up out of there. I'm like, dang, I don't have time to come and just sit out here.
No. So like I said, I'm gone next week, but I will be available by phone. So most of the time, there might be times I turn it off, but not very many.
We'll try not to bother you.
Oh no, it's no big deal. I'm home. I'm just going to spend some time on the boat that we never use.
That's a good plan.
Oh, I will tell you one other thing too. We did support the air show with equipment. I think I mentioned that last week. I did get their numbers. I sent a note to Kale to give them some heads up on. The chamber now has Placer AI, so they can provide Placer reports on events for chamber members, and so attendance was definitely down for them. And that could be a reflection of the military, I guess, had to back out, according to several people involved. So, but we did support them. We let them borrow some stuff, and we've done that. We did that for Sage and Sun Festival. The only part that's kind of a pain to loan out is the tents, because we have to go set those up just because of the requirements for ecology blocks or stakes and the way they're set up. So other than that, most of the other equipment, as long as they can pick it up, we're good to allow them to use it. So that's it. That's all I got.
Cool. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks. Have a good week.
There are pellets that you can put around for the rock chucks.
There's what?
Pellets that you can put out for the rock chucks. Pellets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I would get a hold of your Simplot or, do you have a contract with somebody for chemical, or is that Public Works?
We do have a contract with Wilbur Ellis.
I would reach out to Wilbur Ellis and they can help you.
Okay.
They
Sounds
should-
good. Because I think the guy charged us $50 a carcass last year, or well, no, it's been 5 years since we did that. And I think he took out 50 of them.
Yeah, call Wilbur Ellis.
Okay.
It's a lot.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Bye.
We'll go on recess until 11 when we are back with the risk coordinator update. Good morning, it's 11 a.m. and we're here with Blair Koch for a risk and coordinator safety update.
Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to give you a heads up on a new claim and then a update on one of our claims that's been going on for a little while. On the 24th, the PA's office, Kevin McRae was lawsuit for the Catholic priests. This has to do with the Senate bill. WCRG got involved. If you don't know what that is, it's priests are required to report suspected child abuse or neglect to law enforcement that they may have got during confession, which they're not happy about because it says it goes against their duty. And so multiple counties are filing. So, and then WCRG had put coverage for us. So they're covering this for us. So we will have our deductible, and then they will cover the rest for us. And then the Public Works 1739 claim, which is the waste management truck that was collided with one of our rigs out at the landfill, just having to deal with a third party trying to get money from us because they're sending it to me and they're not responding to WCRG because they don't want to give up the video because they say they're not liable. They say we're 100% liable, and we ask for the video and they won't give it to us. So we're saying, we're pretty sure it's 50-50. You pay for yours, we'll pay for our repair, but we'll see what happens. They're handling that. I gave you guys a handout for an upcoming fire extinguisher training that we will be sending out shortly from the safety committee. We haven't determined the date yet, but it will be in October. We wanted to try to do it sooner, but we decided probably wouldn't be the best time to do it during the summer because of how hot it is and having fire and with heat, probably not a good mix. So we'll be sending this out to the department heads and elected officials, and then they can talk to their staff about this. And then as we get closer and get the date picked, it will be at Public Works. We have quite a few fire extinguishers. E-Freda Fire is letting us use their burn prop to do this. So we will have live fire and let people put out fire with an extinguisher, anybody that wants to. So we'll probably do a morning session and then an afternoon session for people that come in early or late. And then the last thing I gave you is a handout of all of our accidents, which is L&I, near misses, and we're at a total of 99 incidents. Not sure what it was in the past couple of years, but it seems like we're doing pretty well. It lets you know by the category what we're doing. We've had clients are about 16, or third party are 16%. Vehicles is our largest at 30% of our claims. And then there's another category. So as we go, I'll continue to drill down on these to figure out what's going on. And then I also went by department to see how each department's doing and how many claims each department has. So the near misses don't really count against the department because it does in this, but it doesn't because it's hopefully going to stop claims in the future. But it just lets us see where we need to work on. And then we also were working on a change request process for address changes. So we have the procedure drawn up for that, and it's being reviewed by Michelle right now. So we have the office verification. So if it's in person and has it all stepped out, I can email it to you guys in a little while. And then it's an online verification and what you need to do. And then also one for our employees for direct deposit changes. I'm getting emails every so often. I got one last week for one of our employees saying that they want to change their direct deposit, and it was spam. So it was a phishing attempt. So it's just something we're doing and send out. So with employees with direct deposit, it will be required to be in person just fill out the papers and then sign it, or the app that they're switching to getting as well in the future. So those will be the ways that the direct deposits can change for employees. And then there's a whole list for change of addresses for checks for vendors that we will implement. So that is what I have at this time. Do you guys have any questions or anything you guys need me to do?
No, keep on doing this stuff.
No, it's good.
Policy updates going good?
Yeah, we're moving through them. We're in the 400s now, so we go up to 800, so we're moving along pretty well. Yeah, we're doing some vehicle stuff right now, so we'll have another meeting this week. Get it done, I think Wednesday. We'll try to get most of the 400s done, and then last of the 400s and 500s or 600s is their biggest one, because that's the employees. So that could take a couple weeks or about a month or so, because we meet every 2 weeks. But yeah, and then the review committee looks at them as well. And then once they sign off, we'll hopefully be able to get them to you guys to review and sign off on, and we can start sending them out to the employees. So, no, it's going really well. And it's been nice with the other departments reaching out to them. We sent stuff off to emergency management to have them review stuff for emergency management. And then we've sent stuff off to Public Works for vehicles use and repairs, had them review it. TS has reviewed some of their things. And so it's been nice to just get the input and have everyone be involved in this process.
Anything else for us?
No, that's all I have at this time.
Anything else for Blair?
Nope, thank you, Blair.
All right, thanks, Blair.
Welcome.
Are you going through your boxes pretty well?
Boxes are basically done. I have 2 boxes left that I will go through with Rebecca, because it's some files and court stuff that I don't think I need, but they may need, so I'll ask her to go through it with me. So, but yeah, everything else is done except the stuff that's down in storage that I had to go through and shred because it's old. So it'll be fun. Other than that, it's going well.
Cool. Thanks, Blair.
Yep.
Good morning. It's 11:15 a.m. and we are here with Daryl Pheasant for a treasurer's office update.
We have a meeting tomorrow. The health district, they're working on a possible abatement with a septic system that has failed. They're new to the abatement process, so we've done it a time or 2.
Okay.
Kevin, or somebody from the prosecutor's office will be there, but
There's many different abatement processes. Some that could be a lien on property, of which then it'd be foreclosable if not paid down the road.
you may want to join us at our meeting tomorrow at 11:30.
Okay. All right. We're right now getting prepared for month end, and all the payments are coming in. Our foreclosure is a lot less parcels, where I think we're down to 50, which we haven't, this early in the process is actually is going to be helpful in workflows so that we can move. We have more time to work on our mobile home distraint sale process and have that probably in August or September. So there was a bill, 5801, that had a provision on page 155. I sent it to the Treasurer's Ledge Committee that I'm on, trying to get an explanation. Does this mean what I think it means? On page 155, at the top, it has some changes to tax increment financing. I also looked at the final bill report, and it sure is suggesting something. It's suggesting that before TIF can be done, you have to get permission If you want other governments to be shifting their taxes to pay for this, you have to get their permission first. Which totally will make no more TIFs. Or you can have some districts say no, and they will get their money.
So how would that affect our current TIF?
I don't think it's retro to TIFs of the past. But for Chelan County, they're talking about a TIF, going, when is the effective date for this? And then if there's effective date, they may be trying to approve something really fast. Well, first thing is they had to prove it to be effective for next year by, was it June 30th today? Or was it June 1st? I can't remember their deadline. But this must have been on the Commissioners Association radar, because this would be something big. Unless it was just slipped in and no one noticed the language. And now will be law soon. I don't know the effective date. So I just was wondering if you guys were aware of it.
No.
And I can't figure out who threw, of the sponsors, who threw it in. It wasn't part of well, the thing is I haven't researched if it was part of an amendment or a striker or all those processes to slip it in, or if it happened much later. Now I called them part of Moses Lake and asked them, what does this mean to you guys? And they were still looking at it. Now the final bill report that I read near the end has the section in it that talks about this. They talk about some big road project, but I don't know if it's just limited to that road project or if it's anything. So I don't know. Someone in the Commissioner Association should be fully aware of what this means. So right now I've posted to the treasurers and we're not sure what this means. But sure would have been nice to have 2 years ago.
Speaking of which, did you ever get the information you needed from Matt and then from the assessor's office for
No.
the Hanford thing?
Yes,
They did.
the bill is sent out Friday. Our total amount increased from 1.6 million to 1.94. Our amounts increased, based on valuation changes. The levy rates are down, but the assessed valuation of the lakefront values were increased. And the latest letter I sent you is the official draft of the amounts for that. Now, we also got today, or not yet, Thursday, and I've been reading the treasurers, the questions asked, and they still haven't asked a big question is, the state has taken $144,000 away from us on the PD privilege tax. What I believe is the reason is you have the state projecting a revenue, and then they project an expense to disperse out to all the taxing districts. It's just like a regular budget. If your revenues come in that you're supposed to disperse to everyone, but you didn't budget the expense to go out to the people who get a share of it, then it gets capped, where they discovered that they went over the cap when they shared the money in February, March, because they weren't projecting this revenue coming in. So the question I'm supposed to pose is, okay, if that's the reason, where are you going to now give us that 144,000 in July out of the new budget, since it was supposed to be our money or do they get the benefit because they put a cap on it that if there's way more money, all the extra money goes to the state. But this puts our cap at getting less revenue than 5 years ago. Which means if we're at a cap, if the legislator keeps it at this level or goes down more, then we get, no matter how much growth of electrical energy is happening, we get no benefit from it. So then the question is, what was the budget for this next biennium for this expense side of this revenue? If it went down, then we have to start budgeting less money, even though sales are going up. And so, was it by accident, or was it another way to generate revenue at the expense of counties? Now, the thing is I posed the other treasurers talk about, well, how much they're going to take away from cities. Well, the rule is the cities get a certain minimum that's untouchable. Then the rest goes to the county on however they want to disperse it. So, no matter what, the cities, for 144,000, they don't have to share any money back because they still get their minimum. And so it's all a cost to the county. So even though, and we didn't make budgeted revenue, even though we had higher sales, I didn't get explanation that made sense to me. Now we're going to take a bigger hit on PUD privilege tax revenues. Now, so my question is going to be, is this what you're trying to say? Because they gave an answer that wasn't clear to any treasurer. And so I was the one that's trying to tell them what I think what they tried to mean. Because if it's a budget limitation, is what happens if you have a grant and you pay it out, but you get more money on the grant, but you only have a budget to pay out this amount. Well, normally we do an extension. Well, extensions for the state budget are something that only happens once a year.
So what's everybody else doing about it?
Well, all the other counties that got it also had a big decrease, but we had the biggest because we get more than most other counties. So the only question is now you're into a new budget year, can we have the money back? And what did the budget do? What was the budget level set for this next biennium? And then if it's set down lower, then where's the communication to counties that you're going to be taking a hit of getting less revenues and them getting more based on the success of our county's electrical sales? So, yep, there's that. But I was letting to see what the responses to other questions are, but their questions weren't this question. But I want to see the responses to decide if I needed to tweak my question before I leave. And so that's what I'm doing, trying to keep a revenue here when I wasn't even happy on the amount we got. Doesn't make sense when you have more, your sales are high, going higher every year. And then you get less money. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
You wouldn't think so.
No. Let's see. Got a lot of payments today. I'm getting a lot of online payments, so our postcards were pretty successful on that. And then, and I haven't had a chance to follow up on with Melissa's, when is she going to actually use the TIF software to at least enter the information in? He says whatever fix there's going to be made, it doesn't prevent her from entering information now. And that was one of the problems, is she waited and didn't do anything, and then it was too late. So we don't have solutions yet on what the dollar amounts, we don't know. The port hasn't been told any numbers yet from her. So no one knows what they're going to lose. So that's.
And we don't know what they're doing with that.
I'm still waiting for Department of Revenue to respond to me. It's now a month. Where I ask the questions.
call them or you just email them?
Well, I emailed them because it's hard to get a hold of them, the people in that process. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe ask questions that they couldn't find, didn't know the answers. I still haven't got through to Douglas County yet to find out what's going on their prosecuting attorney. Was that information shared from Douglas County to the rest of you?
I haven't heard nothing.
No.
Because MRC page says they don't know the answer.
Are you planning on stepping down? I saw that we probably
Well,
need to look
well,
at independent.
If I leave early, you need to know what the process is
Yeah, I was
to
wondering
replace
if
me.
that was
And I've been giving you lots of time. Been asking the question for years. What if I'm gone? What will happen?
we'll frantically look.
We'll have to figure it out.
And no, that's why Douglas County was in the position. What I'm worried about is MRC says you need to get an answer from the Secretary of State's office or the Attorney General. Well, I'm trying to figure out how did they get an answer so fast? I think they're just doing it on what they think versus getting it legal advice from the entity that's supposed to be giving it. So that's why I've been trying to find out what's going on. So, but
Well, they probably don't know either.
I know that's what word is. Maybe they didn't, if the secretary, someone, but then is anyone proposing a law to fix it?
Yeah.
I've got a lot of laws. I keep having to fix all these things. So that's all I got. There wasn't a concert this weekend, was there, at the Gorge?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't get a call, so if they only have 12 this year. It's one of the smaller concert years.
If there was, it was a quiet one.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right, we'll go into recess until 11:30. Good morning, it's 11:30 and we are here for a department head review with HR.
We need to go in executive session.
Yeah, I'm just getting my papers ready. Self-eval. And the eval. Okay, we'll be going into executive session for job applicant / evaluation. RCW 42.30.1101G we'll begin with 15 minutes, returning at 11:46 a.m. We will continue executive session for 14 more minutes, coming out at noon. For some reason, I thought I had seen a work session. Oh, it's at the end of the day. Okay, coming back at noon. We
Maybe,
are
I don't,
out of executive session. It is 12:05 and we will recess until 1 p.m. and we are back for position management. Good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. and we are here for position management review. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see you again, Jim.
Nice to see you, sir. Again.
Dan is taking leave today because he's got the cases.
Dan the man.
And Mandy is on her way. She's just running a little late.
Okay, so the first one, we got two in development services, one at Renew to look at. So we'll start out with development services. The first position we are looking at and asking for your review on is the planning manager. So you guys should have that one in front of you. This position would be in lieu of the deputy that we tried to post and fill, and looking at business needs, requirements, and resources that would be needed to fulfill that those needs, it was decided that a planning manager would be a better fit. This would be banded at an 18 versus a 20, which is where the deputy was at. So it's actually an underrun of about $10,000 on an annual basis.
Is there anything else you need to, I'm in support of it. Jim needs help.
Appreciate it.
Any questions from the
Not on
board?
this one.
Okay.
Usually I love to ask the fun questions.
No. Yep, it's actually in place of Jim's position before he was director.
So that deputy, we'd cancel the rack and then we'd archive that position. And this would be in place of that. So it's about a $5 an hour difference, so about 10,000 on an annual basis.
Yeah. No concerns there. And then it is in the budget, Mandy's not here, but it is, we still have funds.
Yes, we have an administrative assistant position, which was in the planning budget, that was approved but not filled at $71,677 for 2025. And then as a reminder, we still have not absorbed or replaced previous Director Young's $136,663 that was in the building budget. We have dipped into that slightly when we promoted from within the building official. And I think that was roughly $7,000. So we still have $130 some odd thousand again in the building budget that has not been used. And so my plan would be, if we are successful in finding a planning manager, we would have to do a budget transfer to cover the difference between the 71 and whatever the balance would be. So that would be the plan.
Thank you. Again, no questions on the board?
Oh,
Okay. So on to the, oh, sorry, Gina does.
Dan, did you do a wage salary?
On the planning manager, I did look at survey data, we
And
do the
call it
full
an 18.
compensation analysis like we typically do, where we bring back the compensation survey spreadsheet to look at. We could find a planning manager, we could have a director, but
Directors and then the senior planner. And so in comparison with those two, it balanced out at an 18.
And the deputy director was at 20.
That's a 20.
Yeah. A little unrelated for me.
Along with the,
No,
We backfilled that with a Tech 1.
Chair.
No, just in general.
so what we did in lieu of trying to find the,
And then
because
these
we
are
couldn't
all
find the
secure.
actual planning manager, we looked at I looked at the deputy as well as the senior
Have an
planner.
idea of what.
To base my analysis based on that.
And if I ever do this,
I'll bring that back for decision tomorrow from the board. Second one is fire marshal,
if I ever do that,
reclassification.
right, exactly.
So the next one, the fire marshal, the reclassification, individuals already in this role, we did a compensation analysis, which indicated that it would be appropriate to reband the position from a 17 to an 18. In addition to that, part of the analysis too was to look at the individual's current scope of work, their essential job duties, and infuse into that supervisory responsibility as well as the responsibility of directing the work of others and running the fire marshal program.
Say that again?
All of it verbatim?
The fire marshal part?
You can watch it, it's recorded.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I may need to, if you want me to repeat it, I'll.
Boy.
Sorry, Rob, I have to give you bedtime.
I can handle it that time. My wife. Okay, I
We can go over.
no, I got it.
You okay?
Like when, I don't know. Maybe I was just like, my brain was missing pieces.
Any further?
It makes sense now. I didn't realize it was a request for that position. I thought it was a
Okay.
I was thinking of it as the counter permit one, public works for some reason.
Nope, different position.
And I was like, we're going up bands? Wow, that's not the right rate, so I just, yeah.
And I can expand if it's helpful.
I clocked out for a second.
Yeah.
Are you clocked back in?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like more clarification?
No, I got it
Tasha?
now. I got it. I read the need and I was like, what were you thinking?
Okay. Policy. Any concerns? Okay. Concerns. Again, it is, you have the budget for it.
Yeah, funding
in
sources.
building.
Yeah, still left over from previous Director Young.
Gina, any questions?
No, sorry.
I didn't ask you. What's that?
She clocked out too.
Yeah. She's right on top of it, taking notes for me. How about you, Kevin? Do you have any questions about this
No.
position?
No,
Reclassification?
definitely. Former fire marshal.
Did you want to add anything?
I would just add that, so the fire marshal currently is tasked with, per RCW 4344050, he's tasked with investigating all fires within unincorporated Grant County, contrary to what has been discussed under the previous director. So this action is an attempt to take in consideration that they are called out often. So 2 weekends ago was called in twice to do investigations for District 5. And so this is just setting the table for that department to then add internally additional investigators to that rotation so that they might be able to take a weekend off.
That would be kind of cool, not that, but it would be cool to get the review of some of those investigations from him and his updates.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
often get asked those questions. That doesn't have to do with this, but.
And I can have him add those to his update. He was rebanded from a 16 to a 17 during Chris Young's tenure, and that was in consideration of a review of all the investigations that had occurred prior to that rebanding, and Chris Young making a determination that I think there was 56 callouts, only 12 of them warranted an actual investigation, which is contrary to the RCW. So currently, the fire marshal is investigating, as he's being requested, all events. So if District 5, for example, were to call him and are having a hard time determining cause and origin, it's the responsibility of the county fire marshal to go out and determine that cause and origin if he's in town and available to do that. The only times that he wouldn't be is if he's out of state on training or is on vacation. So, and then we have a safety specialist too to follow up, working out of class to cover in those events. So I definitely appreciate Dan's work in coming up with the comp review and definitely the board's consideration in this request. So.
The RCW reference is also attached to your PMRT form if you want to take a look at it.
Okay. There's nothing further. Dismiss you and get back to your day, and we'll move on to the next one.
Thank you.
Last one.
Oh, I didn't know Cindy was online. Sorry, Cindy, I didn't see that you were online. I didn't look at the screen. Thank you. Okay, so Dan and I can both speak to this one. Last, and Cindy, you as well, I believe. So I want to say it was right after the first of the year, there was discussion about the executive director of Renew and his wage in comparison to the health district. And Cindy had asked us to run some comps. Dell reached out to his people that he could to get comps on, because we don't use the standard comps because many counties don't have behavioral health facilities anymore like they used to. So he brought forward some comps, and we are bringing it back to the committee for that review. And then tomorrow, of course, it will go to the board to have further discussion, but I thought I would at least, we would bring it forward on what he did find. So currently he is at a band 26, which is the highest. And looking at the comparables that Dell was able to obtain, he is, I think, somewhat under for some of them, with some of them. So
What's he currently at?
well, he's at a band 26, which is the highest band that the county has. So we would have to, so we didn't attempt to put it into a band because we would then need to create that band if it were to go higher. So. Dan, do you know what his annual
I have to go
band
back.
26? I can pull it up.
Honestly, he's close to the top, so we would have to create a, another band above a 26.
There's no government entities that are comparable?
Behavioral health, it's pretty hard.
Yeah. Let's see.
How long
I
has Dell?
thought he was, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. How long has Dell been in this position?
Oh, you found it. Thank you.
It's a good question because he was here before I was here. I don't know how long he's been here,
I
what,
know
4 or
he's
5
been
years
here
maybe?
long.
Dell has been here 6
years?
years.
Wow.
Yeah. So
155 a day or something like that.
So hourly 75, 55.
It's 155 on an annual basis.
To 88.91 is the band in which he's at. So annually, oh, it won't scroll any further. So 157, 144, up to 184, 932. So looking at it, the comps he was able to provide, he is under with those comps. And I don't remember what the comparison was to the health district. Cindy, do you recall?
She just got a raise, so.
Yeah.
What did she go up to? I'd say like 170 something.
Which is where he's at.
Yeah, I think that spreadsheet that I was looking at indicates that he, salary-wise, is where that individual's at.
Right where she's at, yeah. So, any questions from anybody?
Yeah, and the only reason is because Teresa has, from Moses Lake Community Health, who he's worked for, he left there to come to work for us. And she said, oh, if you're paying him that little amount, basically we need him back. And he's definitely under market. So she was the one that really emphasized that we needed to go out and look at a salary that was a decent salary for Dell.
and he does manage more people than Teresa. I do feel like the health district, that is a little high, but they were comparing that to medical instead of government.
Yeah, it looks like that's the way to get compared.
He's at a step 6. Oh, step 6. 15,034 dollars.
I wonder how much short it'd be.
Okay, well, in November, thank you.
So then he's at 180 then.
Yeah. Okay, well, Mandy, I'm assuming it's in his budget. If there were to be an increase, he does fairly well there.
All his funding's grant funded.
Yeah.
Things like that, right?
Service fund.
Service funded.
Any payroll issues with us running?
No.
Okay. A new van if necessary?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll bring it back tomorrow. That's what we've got for today.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, dang. Commissioners, since we have 40 minutes, do you have any items for the work session this afternoon? Cindy is online, so do you have any items for the work session, or do you want to cancel that meeting?
I don't have any items.
I don't have any. I was up at Grand Coulee last week. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Barb, are there any things that need to be on that I don't know of? That would be a reason not have that meeting later.
I don't have anything.
Okay, all right. Well then, we will just cancel 145 then and work with departments. You have a few minutes, I could chat with you. All right, anything else for this meeting?
Can't think of anything.
All right, well then we'll recess until 8:30 tomorrow morning for consent agenda review work session.
Oh.